Boom. Here we are, Josiah, Ritzko. Really pumped about this one. How you doing today?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Not bad, not bad. I've been wanting to chat with you for a long time. Even not like a recorded content piece, but just about what you do. I think it's really cool. Um, I watch this guy I work with. He runs Blue Chip Wrestling.
Mhm.
Uh, he's a really big Fanco fan and really interested. He's always been telling me, yeah, this would be a good guy to chat with. But anyways, um, for those people that don't know, Josiah runs Fanco Wrestling on YouTube. Definitely got to check that out. And then also the social media coordinator at Campbell University. So first of all, how are you doing with all the with the COVID stuff?
I'm doing. I'm fine right now. It's kind of nice with my job where especially with Campbell, I'm actually able to work from home and not be an issue. It hasn't really affected my job in that regard. It's been fine. And with Fanco, I mean, first of all, thanks for your support and for the guys over at Blue Chip watching it too. It's great to have that support. But as far as that goes, it's just kind of been even more time to buckle down and get more content ready for the future. It's tough, obviously, with wrestling in sports in general. Just nothing going on right now, so it's a time to really dig deep and try to find more ways to be creative about that. But as far as like just health wise, I've been fine. Getting a lot more exercise, going on a lot more walks and runs, which is kind of nice. But other than that, it's been pretty good.
Cool. Real quick, I want to, it's not any new news, but just, somebody that, you don't depend on wrestling, but it's a big part of your life. And, um, you know, tell me the reaction. I saw some videos on it, but your initial reaction when the NCAAs wasn't going to happen this year.
Oh, it was, we were kind of talking about it in the office throughout that week. I mean, it just seemed like within a week span, everything with going on with COVID just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And, events were being canceled and delayed every single day. Nobody knew what was going to happen. So we were in the office talking, with Coach Kolat when he was still there and Scotti Sentes and all the guys. We were just like, is this legitimately, could this legitimately get canceled? And I still had a, thought in my mind of hope, like, okay, we can do this without fans and that'll be fine. But then once that news broke that it was off, it honestly just blew my mind. Like, I just felt, first of all, for all these guys, in their careers that just ended so abruptly. And we, of course, didn't know at the time whether they were going to get that extra eligibility or not. Now we know they're not, but it's just, that's what I really felt for. And, it was going to be such a cool event, I thought, to be in the Viking Stadium, to be in such a big arena, because I've been going to Nationals for the last couple of years now and have just absolutely loved the environment, loved that wrestling venue. It's unlike any other sporting event I've ever been to, really, and I'm coming from Penn State, where we're filled with the football stadium every single week, which those events are great, and still nothing beats Nationals. So when that was canceled, it just blew my mind. I was just floored. It took me some time to process, and then once that weekend hit, when Nationals were supposed to be, it was just like, wow, this is real, and I can't believe that.
Yeah, yeah, and you touched on it, but for me as a fan, I won't say, oh, it's devastating, but really when I thought about it, it was the athletes. You're close to that Campbell program, I believe six NCAA qualifiers, and then their whole teams also feels part of that. Training with the guys. But what did it feel like being around those guys when that initial shock happened?
It was just it was a shame that all these guys, they worked so hard this year. In their whole careers, really, but especially this year, the Campbell program's just been growing and growing and growing. And in my mind, personally, I thought that Campbell had the opportunity to have multiple All-Americans, which they've never had multiple All-Americans in the history of the program, and just for some of those guys to not be able to achieve those goals. It was devastating to them, and as it should be. And the guys that are able to get that extra year or, come back for another year that still have their eligibility, I think it just gives them a lot more motivation, because just knowing who those guys are and how they work, it's a shame they're upset. It's something they're never going to get back, but it just drives them forward.
Yeah. Yeah, and I agree with you. I thought it's a real shame that we didn't get to test out the stadium. I think as you know, a lot of people weren't pumped about it, but I think you have to do it. Something Brian Smith at Missouri was saying is like you got to try it out because you never know. And wrestlers, it's like change is tough, but it could be that we got there and it was amazing. But now we don't get to feel that.
I couldn't agree with that more. I mean, I was even a little bit skeptical of it, just like wondering how it was going to be set up, how it was going to be for the fans to see. But I think a lot of times, fans will adapt, and it's different even just being at NCAAs compared to watching it at home on your couch. And some people are always going to like watching it at home on their couch because they get the replays, they get the close-up of the action. But I think it's different just being there in that environment to me, and that's why I love it so much more. But you're right, like we're not going to know, could this have been a massive, sold-out event? Could this have been what wrestling was going forward? And I'm sure there are talks still going on behind the scenes with where this might go, but it's a lost opportunity, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I'll watch wrestling anywhere. I like to watch it on my couch in some sweatpants with some snacks. But I think people that say that have never felt the NCAA tournament. Like when there's that big head-to-head matchup and someone gets a takedown, just blows up, and your whole body feels it. It's the best wrestling event in the world, the most exciting.
Absolutely. The moment that sticks out in my head, exactly what you're talking about, is the first national I ever went to was actually in Cleveland, and whenever the big race between Penn State and Ohio State was really heating up in the Bo Nickel match with Miles Martin. That was just like, I'm in the crowd, I'm sitting right next to all the Ohio State fans, so obviously you felt their devastation after that, but I'm jumping up as a Penn State fan and Bo Nickel fan, and it's just, from my couch watching that, I would still have been jumping up and down. That's just the person that's the fan I am, jumping up and down, high-fiving my friends or my family. But being there, being able to do it too, and sharing that excitement with so many other people is just, and following those storylines too with everybody at the event, and just hearing the discussion, not just in the arena, but when you go outside of the arena, you're eating out or going out wherever, you just hear talks in the street, and just so many like-minded people, so many like-minded fans in the same area.
Yeah, it's certainly an experience. And one thing I thought too, like all these people that were skeptical about it, as soon as that whistle blew this year, it would have been like laser focused on the wrestling, especially with the team race, what it was going to be, and some of the, like you said, the great storylines. But all right, since we're talking about NCAA and Campbell right now, I want to get understanding of what it's like to be near Cary Kolat.
Sure. So I've been working at Campbell for a little over a year now, or just about a year now, and the job opportunity kind of popped up. My girlfriend and I were moving down to the Raleigh area, and we saw this job opportunity to work at Campbell, and I was like, wow, this could be really neat if I was able to get this job. And then, through the hiring process, kind of talked to Cary Kolat, met him, and growing up from Western Pennsylvania, myself, knowing, the Cary Kolat name, it's just something everybody knows, in the wrestling world, but especially from Western Pennsylvania, his high school just being, a 20, 30-minute drive from where I lived, in Cannesburg, PA. Mm-hmm. And then being able to move down here, then work for him, it was a phenomenal experience. At first, it was a little like, I don't really ever get like starstruck or anything like that, but it was just kind of it was different. It was cool to be able to meet somebody that you look up to. But then working for him, he was a phenomenal boss, and it's just neat to be able to be in an office every day where you get somebody who knows so much about wrestling clearly, and get his take on certain things, whether, things going on in the NCAA or international wrestling, whatever that is, just listening to what he has to say, because with Fanco, I always like to listen to what other people have to say as well and get their takes. So his takes are always so unique, and he always has such a interesting mindset on certain topics and how he thinks about things. So I always love just honestly just listening to what he has to say, and he had so many stories throughout his career, throughout his life, that were always so interesting to listen to and dive into. I just enjoy doing that. And great boss and a great person.
Yeah, well, what he's doing worked. I mean, it seems like such an effective coach. Um, I mean, it wasn't too long ago where people didn't know if Campbell was a Division I program, and here they had knocked off Iowa State this year, won SoCon. Um, yeah, super cool. So Navy's getting a good one. But you know what? I love Scotti Sentes. I was lucky. Like when I was at my in 2008 is when I actually NCAAs at 2008 was whenever I started working with Flo, and my second event was high school nationals, and so I watched him win a high school national title, and then I just always seemed to be where Central Michigan was at those events, and so watching him was great, and now following through his career, and here he is now leading a team. What are your thoughts about Sentes getting that job?
Oh, I mean, I was excited whenever I found out that Scotty was the one to get the job after Coach Kolat. I was pumped. It had me excited to stay with the team. Just because they're the whole coaching staff last year when I was part of the team, they had the same mindset, same kind of same mindset going into all of practices, all their matches, everything. But they all had a little bit different approach to things. And Scotty was more of a guy that he's a little bit laid back about things, a little bit more, a little bit less, I guess, intense about certain things. But that's just kind of how he is as a coach, and it works for him. And I like his approach to how he does things with certain guys. And just watching it throughout practice, how he's able to really hone in on certain technique with certain guys. I really think he's a great person off the mat and on the mat as well. He's a guy that guys are able to come up to, talk to about whatever it is, whatever problems they're having on or off the mat in the classroom. And I think he's the great fit for the program. And I know a lot of guys were excited to have him as the new head coach.
Sweet.
Fans, wrestlers on the team, got people in the wrestling community. And the other great thing is he's hiring great guys that, kind of help him out, complement him, is what I'm looking for, that complement his coaching, because he understands that he's great at certain things, but other coaches can also help him and complement him in areas where he's not as great in. And I think that's a great testament to him as a head coach, and I'm excited to see where he brings this program going forward.
Yeah, and it was a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, when Michlak gets announced as the assistant, and also bringing on Daryl Thomas. Have you been able to interact with those guys much?
Oh yes. I've talked to both those guys. We haven't met in person yet because of everything going on, but I've talked to them on the phone a little bit. We've done our team Zoom meetings where I've been able to interact with them, and I mean both of them just seem like great stand-up guys that are excited to change things up going forward with the program in good ways, and they bring a lot of great ideas to the program. They bring a couple of great things here that as far as I see to the program. One, I mean the wrestling knowledge is going to be great for the team, a great asset. But also, I think that bringing new guys into the program helps it not stay stagnant. And not that I think the program is going that way by any means, but I'm just saying, sometimes bringing in a fresh new set of eyes, a fresh new guy who has different techniques, has a different background. And both of these guys are coming in with those from their respective schools that they've wrestled at in the past and that they've coached at in the past. And I think it's both great ideas. Just talking, one thing off of my mind that comes straight to mind is I was talking to Daryl last week about how we can get some of these guys from Old Dominion, how we can get some of these guys to come to Campbell, and he had this great idea for a graphic that I had never really thought about, but he's like, this is kind of what I have an idea for you to do, and he said, can you do it? So I tried doing it. It kind of worked out. We ended up getting the guy that we wanted to come to the program, getting the recruit, and it helped out. Just anything that I'm able to do behind the scenes helps out, but bring that fresh set of eyes and saying, okay, you're doing this good, but what if we changed it this way? And I think that's what these guys are going to do great for the wrestlers too.
That's got to be super exciting for you. Somebody that understands how important that your job is, and actually he must be thinking about these ideas. So you'll have somebody to probably bounce ideas off of, and you figure out ways to get even better at what you do. Now, it's a shame that Daryl, his program got cut, but it's great that he's at Campbell now. Because I understand, I don't know him so well, but I understand he has some really outstanding skill sets that are vital for a D1 college team. But what were your thoughts on Old Dominion? Losing the program.
It's a shame when any program like that gets shut down. It saddens me for the guys, but also just for wrestling in general, because it always seems like wrestling is the first sport to get cut, and it's just so sad to me. And being around a couple guys who their programs were cut. I mean, Noah Gollinger at Campbell, his program was cut at Eastern Michigan, and I had a chance to sit down with him. I've talked to him about this a couple times, but really, I had an interview where I went really in depth with him. It was actually for our Campbell 100 members, so just kind of the guys behind the scenes, but discussing what that was like for him. And it's because I was never a part of a program that got shut down like that, but I can still think, what would that be like? And when kind of Gollinger started going with, he's called into this meeting, and essentially he had one day after the national tournament to where they said, this program's getting shut down. You guys are kind of out of luck. That's it. You got to find somewhere else to go. And that's really it. And it just shows that certain academic schools just have their mindset so much on money, or not really a hand in the actual team and the actual guys' lives that this is affecting. And to me, that's a real shame that they don't have that connection, and that it's more of a just a decision based on financial aspects or whatever it is. And listen, that has to play some sort of part, but to me, it's just a disconnect sometimes between the staff and the program, and that's a shame to me.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me about your kind of what you do day to day in your social media coordinator role.
Sure. So in my role, it's nice now because I get to I was actually working sometimes from home a couple of days just because I have that leeway. But as far as job and what I do, it's not just posting pictures, which some people some people think that is. And I totally understand that, just because that's what people think. To me, it's how can I find a way to make this post effective for some reason, whether it's getting a new recruit, whether it's putting our content out there for the fans, or just getting people to know our program and getting to recognize that. Because the social media presence was always something that whenever I was brought in, Coach Kolat found importance to grow the program and get that recognition, and that's kind of what he told me from the beginning, is that he wanted this program pushed out there even more online through social media, and that's why I found that kind of important from my aspect, and I found a way to do that, and it's been awesome being able to grow the account so much. I mean, just it's great. Over the last year, our Instagram account's grown from it was 4,000 followers up to 10,000. But to me, it's not, and to some people, what a lot of people think is just, okay, it's just about the followers, about this. But to me, it's not really about that at all. It's about how can we gain more exposure for the program? How can we get these videos to go viral so that, maybe a high school kid sees these and is able to now see, okay, this is who Campbell Wrestling is. I'm going to have that mindset too. I like that. Maybe I'll go ahead and reach out to the program, reach out to the coaches, and this is a program I want to go to in the future. And so my day-to-day kind of goes through how can I do that? Which posts are important to do that, as well as, pleasing other people behind the scenes. We have a great program here at Campbell, the Campbell 100, where we have a group of our alumni donors who donate so much every single year, where they get special behind-the-scenes footage. And
cool.
It's not just and which is great for the program. They really enjoy it. They enjoy getting to know what the guys are all about, getting to really understand who the guys are on the team. And so I'm doing things through that behind the scenes as well.
How do you continue to grow and get better at your role there?
I think for me, the biggest thing is constantly learning. Pretty much everything I've done through this, I have a degree in marketing from Penn State, but most of what I do, I like to say self-taught, because a lot of it really is. My video editing, my Photoshop, just understanding how to post and how to optimize certain things for, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, whatever it is. It's constantly learning as well as constantly changing. So I like to do certain things, and maybe a post works sometimes, and I'm able to repeat that, but maybe that post didn't work. Maybe the video didn't work as what I thought it was going to be. Is being able to constantly change that, because social media is constantly changing, and the digital landscape, the online landscape is constantly changing, and people get bored, if they start seeing these same things every time, these same photos, these same posts, whatever it is. And to me, that helps, as well as getting feedback from other people. Like I said with Daryl, getting that feedback from him and listening to what he had to say, and taking other people's opinions, I think is really important.
Awesome. How I know you got a little bit of a Penn State thing. Scotti said sometimes you got to lay the hammer on you.
Yeah. Now I'm never going to wear Penn State into the office or anything like that. Campbell always has my full support. But yeah, sometimes I always got the there's Penn State guys, and then I always got the stink guy. Whether it's from Scotti or from Mike Evans, who's obviously an Iowa guy as well. But I got to deal with it sometimes, and I'm used to getting that. The Penn State look, I guess I'll call it, from not only them, but from my family, my girlfriend, everybody. They know. They're like, would you just shut up, Josiah?
One more thing Scotti said. He said you guys locked up one time, and he said, man, that he was surprised by how good you could wrestle.
That's pretty funny. We were getting ready for the pit door, and we were in the room. And I was just kind of sitting there watching the guys warm up. And Scotti just came up from behind and grabbed me. And I pushed his hand down and escaped from him real quick. And he was like so surprised. I'm like, Scotti, I wrestled before. I'm not like totally oblivious to all this. I still have some skill.
Nice. Well, I want to get to like your wrestling and kind of how you got into the sport in a little bit. But meat and potatoes, what I'm really excited to talk to you about is Fanco. Was, man, a little before the season, Gonz over at Blue Chip was like, dude, you got to check this guy out. And since then, you've grown significantly. But, what I think you do an outstanding job is you speak to, like, all levels of fans. So, I know if I was super busy working on an event, I can go over to Fanco and I can get caught up and really have an understanding of the landscape and the stories that are going on. But then, when I am in tune, with what's going on, I can tune in and I get some more details, so more of the higher end stuff. So I just think you do such a good job. Tell me, why did you decide to start Fanco? What was the reason behind that?
Yeah, sure. First of all, thank you. But So Fanco started back last year, 2019 in January, and it was kind of an idea that had started before that. I've kind of if a serial entrepreneur is like the word for it. I've tried multiple things. I'm never afraid to kind of just go for things and think for things. So I actually had old YouTube channels where I would put out videos, and a lot of those were actually on like movies because I'm a huge movie buff, love watching movies. And I was getting some views on those videos. I had some people following me, and it kind of helped me understand, and I've always been on YouTube. I've been on YouTube since like 2007, watching content myself. And I was like, you know what, let me try this. So I tried a channel with movies, got some views, wasn't really working that much. And then I was thinking, that's a crowded field, huge crowded field on YouTube. And I was thinking, one that's not insanely crowded is like a wrestling. And I enjoy talking about wrestling with my friends. And that's really all it was then. I enjoy talking wrestling with my friend. I'm sure I can reach some more people and extend this discussion, get what other people have to say. And the idea was born kind of one night. Funny story, like after we went back home, my friend and I went back home to our old high school and watched a wrestling match at Canamac. It was an alumni night, so we were there. Later that night, we were sitting in my garage over a glass of whiskey, and I was talking to him, what would be pretty cool is if we were able to start this. So from there, I started that, and the first video, I believe it was, talking about the Beat Fix and Nick Suriano match, and I just put a video out, filmed on my iPhone with some random backdrop, a microphone, lavalier mic, and just kind of gave my thoughts on the match. And that got more views than most of my movie YouTube channel. And I was like, wow, this may be a legitimate thing. And from there, I kind of went into it more strategic with how I made videos and the matches I talked about, the duels I talked about. And I thought that, I wanted to put a different spin on it than just kind of every other wrestling site out there. I wanted to do it in a different way where I like to speak directly to the fans. And like you said, on all different levels, because some people, they're able to get really in tune. They know everything about wrestling. They know exactly what's going on. But some people, they don't even know that Nick Suriano is from Rutgers, that he goes to Rutgers, so that he used to wrestle at Penn State for a year. Some guys don't know that, and that's totally cool because they're just getting into wrestling. Maybe they're a high school wrestler that didn't follow college wrestling, or they're a really young guy that doesn't even know what Rutgers is. Whatever that is, I like to reach out to those people and just extend that discussion. So it was kind of born from there, and from January onward, I started putting out a couple videos a week, and then, I just hit a massive growth within the first month. I grew from 0 subscribers on YouTube up to 1,000, and that just blew my mind. And from there, by the time March hit, I had like 4,000 subscribers, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is an audience. And when certain people look at that, there are people on YouTube with millions and millions and millions of fans. But to me, that's not the way I look at it. I look at it as there are 4,000 people at this point. Like 13, almost 14,000 people are following me just on YouTube, and that watch my videos. And really, even more, those are just the people that are subscribed to me. And it's like these are 14,000 plus people that just want to have a conversation and that are interested in what I have to say. That's a lot of people, that if I'm having a conversation with these people every single day, that's a lot of people, as well as the fact that, it's the wrestling world's smaller than, those other big, whether it's basketball, baseball. It's a smaller, well-knit community. And from there, it's grown, and I like to reach out directly to talk to the fans, but that's kind of the beginning of Fanco, if you will.
Nice. Well, you had like an aha moment right at the beginning, it sounds like. Can you tell me, like, along the way, some other aha moments, whether it's a story or a technique, or that you used in shooting your video? What were some big moments with Fanco?
So a big few moments. I've reached along the way is, first I was putting the videos out there and not really, and I had an idea of who the audience was, and I can get some of those analytics on the back end. And to me, I'm always studying the analytics to see how I can improve in what the target audience is and all that. But whenever I started talking directly to the fans and hearing what they had to say, I found out that a lot of people were the people that they're going to these wrestling tournaments every month or every weekend, or they're a coach or whatever it is, and they don't have time to watch college wrestling on the weekends, but they still want to follow along. And when they can come back Monday or Tuesday and watch Fanco on YouTube and find out, oh, this is what I missed over this weekend. And that was kind of an aha moment to say, okay, these are more of my fans, like the people that follow the channel, the wrestling fans that they want to get to know what's going on in wrestling, but don't always have the time. And that was an aha moment to me in how I started structuring my content. Another aha moment, I guess, would be with extending the reach on social media. So I kind of watch a bunch of people, a bunch of content creators, whether it's in wrestling or outside of wrestling, and I've seen channels get shut down, whether it's based on something they said, something they did, or just YouTube just changing things up and saying your channel is no longer viable. And I was thinking, okay, what happens to Fanco if YouTube gets shut down? And that's why from there I've kind of started growing my reach outside of that, and growing on to Instagram. And I think Instagram is like a second great platform for me, just because I'm able to reach more people, as well as there are a lot of younger people on that, which I find to be a lot of my target audience. And I've been growing that page slowly but surely as well over this few months, really, since I started that. Back in, I think it was like maybe September. But I think that was another big moment for me as far as video creation. And then most recently, I actually put out a survey just to talk to my fans, my like Fanco wrestling community directly, and just say, what do you like about the channel? What don't you like? What should I change? And from there, I got a lot of feedback. Good comments, bad comments, some comments about my old mustache I had, all around, just different feedback. And really what I learned the most about is people just enjoy the discussion. They enjoy getting to go somewhere on the internet where they can talk to other wrestling fans, talk to me about wrestling, talk to other people in the comments about wrestling, and I think that's so important, is the interactivity of Fanco on YouTube, is that whether they agree with me or disagree with me, which I'm always totally cool with and open to that discussion, is they have an opinion, and I like to listen to that, and they like the feedback on their own opinion. Whether they like it or not, they like that feedback. And also from there, you may see like my background has actually already changed. That's something I've been working on during this quarantine, is working on changing some things in the background, just to up my level of production. Just because from the beginning, like I said, I started on an iPhone. Not that many people know that, but an iPhone and a lavalier mic, and that was it. And from there, the content has just changed over time, and it's just been exciting to work on and change.
Nice. So I know, I'm sure every time you shoot something, it's going to vary a little bit, but, what goes into a video? I know, you got to have the information, and you have to edit the video. You put graphics on, but tell me, your process from idea to upload.
Sure. So the first thing I do is I'm constantly looking at what's going on in the wrestling world, going on all different sites, as well as social media, to find out what news is going on, what's interesting to talk about. And then once I find a story that I want to talk about, whatever that may be, I think, okay, how can I kind of put my own spin on it without just sounding the same as everybody else? And once I kind of get that down, I get the title of my video done. That's one of the first things I think of, is how am I going to title this? How am I going to put it out there? Then I start thinking about what's the thumbnail going to be in my video. because I think that's really important to do also is getting people to click on the content. And then it's doing the research, thinking about, whether it's looking into guys, people who wrestled in the past, guys' old records, what's important to getting this point across, as well as, who am I getting this across to? Is it like a Penn State fan? Is it a Big Ten fan? Is it an Iowa fan? Is it just somebody who wants to know about wrestling and understand that, and how can I convey that to them? Maybe they follow wrestling, maybe they don't, but that audience being able to understand that. Once I get all that done, and I start working on my graphics, thinking about what could be useful here, what will help convey my message even more, whether that's a photo, whether that's just some stats on the side to help convey my information. I kind of think of it like an ESPN also, with how they put up their graphics, I think are important to convey the message. Once I have all those graphics done, once I have the photo, all these things done, then I go and I film. I filmed the video. I have my notes typically up with all the notes that I came up with for the video. Film, and then I go into editing, uploading to YouTube, and then kind of scheduling my content with how I'm going to go about things. And at this point, I actually have so many things scheduled for the future. I'm already looking ahead, 1, 2, 3 months with how content is going to play out. Then once that video is uploaded, to me it's really important within the first hour, within the first day, to go into the comments and actually talk to people. They're going on to that video. They're putting their, of course I'm putting all my time into these videos, and most of the people that watch the videos, they know that, they understand that, but they're taking the time out of their day to comment on a video that I made. And they're taking the time, whether it's like one sentence, or some people leave, paragraphs of questions and statements and whatever it is, agreeing or disagreeing with the video. And I like to respond to those people because, to them, these videos are some of the most important things they have in their life, whether it's right now or during the wrestling season. And that's just, the reality of it. And I like to give my time to those people. And it's a long process sometimes. Some videos are quicker than others. Some videos I have to get out there right away. Like talking about, the unfortunate news about Zahid Valencia. That's something that's breaking, that's quick. I gathered the stats on that quick while making sure that I had the correct facts. I never like to jump the gun, because to me it's important to have the facts about things and not rumors. I don't really ever like to talk about rumors. I keep those in mind, but like to state facts, as well as, try to keep things as positive as I can be about the wrestlers. I never like slandering the wrestlers. I never like talking bad about them, talking trash on them, saying they're a bad wrestler, this or that. Whether I think that on my own is of my own accord, but I don't like putting that out there on the internet. And to me, that's something that's important to me.
Nice. Well, whatever you're doing, I think the engagement that you get is something that I notice. I love reading the comments, and I think that's so important, and probably tells you that what you're doing is effective. What's your, do you have goals set for it, or where do you want to take it?
Sure. I do have kind of goals, short term and long term. It's something that I do want to do in the long term as a full-time career. And right now I'm making some income with it. I've been doing things on the back end in order to prepare myself to up myself to make more income going forward. It's just something that you'll see probably over the next year or so. Just different changes that I'm going to make, but still keeping the channel completely free, because I think that I never want to go into like a category where that's the other thing I found from a lot of my feedback, is that people enjoy watching the channel. They enjoy that it's free, and there's still ways to kind of monetize that, whether it's with ads, whether it's with other things that I still find sustainable. And I want to, and not just that, financial is one aspect. That's just, that I'm able to support myself. But the bigger goal is to be able to help younger wrestlers kind of grow, and that's another aspect that I'm moving forward going into the channel. I've been, it's something that I want to do is interviewing more guys, talking to more actual wrestlers, whether it's about news going on or about how to help younger guys in their growth. And it's something that I've worked a little bit on, but I want to push forward going even more because I've already received comments and messages and emails from younger guys in junior high or high school that are like, your content on whether I should go D1, D2, or D3 has really helped me in my decisions on going forward, and that's the intent of it, and that's what I find very fulfilling is being able to help these younger guys, find a place whatever they want to do going forward.
Cool. Well, yeah, I'm glad that you brought up like the monetizing part. I think some people are worried about talking about that or fear what people think, but I want you to make a living doing this because that just means I get more. That just means wrestling fans get more and creating some economy in the sport. Anything else about Fanco that you want to talk about?
Sure. I mean, it was. I guess I could talk about the name because a lot of people ask me like, "What the heck is Fanco?" I have to come up with that name.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like my last name. My name, like you said, Josiah is my name. My middle name's not Fanco. Like, where the heck did that come from? So Fanco, the name, was actually born back, I believe, in 2014. In regards to wrestling, so I graduated high school, was moving on to college, and was trying to find a way to really, stay in contact with some of my friends, my wrestling buddies, because a lot of them were still in high school. None of them went to Penn State. So, I was kind of on my own out there before I made it, any of my good friends out there. But, they were like, I was trying to find a way to stay connected. And the way that I did that was by actually creating a fantasy wrestling league where I just did it in a spreadsheet. It was the most advanced spreadsheet that I've ever done in my entire life. I'm a big fan of Excel and all that, but it was an online Google sheet where we each drafted teams, and it was just set with an algorithm that I created, and it was one of the coolest things that I've ever done, and I'm still excited about that. But I was trying to think, like, what can I call this? Where can I do this? And that's where Fantasy College Wrestling, Fantasy College, Fanco. I just kind of combined the words. That's where it came from. And I just thought it was a fun name to start out the channel with because I already created that. And I'm no longer doing like the fantasy college wrestling stuff, but it was a great time with my friends, and that's where the name came from.
Oh, cool. Yeah, well, dude, I like it's you talking about like getting more content, more interviews. I know, so what I do right now is events and content, but content's kind of taking a back seat because I'm new running events. It's taking most of my time. Man, if you ever want to sync up, and I'm at an event, I'd love to contribute to any stories that you're doing. If I can pick some of that up for you, man, that'd be cool.
Absolutely, I think that would be great. It's like I said, something I want to go forward with moving forward. I think it's great for the channel, and I'd love to connect in that way. I think it'd be a good time.
Awesome. So, when did you get into wrestling?
Sure. So I started wrestling back in elementary school. I've wrestled my entire life, for the most part. Wrestled at Tandem McMillan High School back in Western Pennsylvania.
Was Chris Mary there?
And Chris Mary was my head coach.
Gotcha.
I was on the 2 state championship teams back in high school. Whenever we defeated Central Dauphin and Franklin Regional and Nazareth and all these other schools. I mean that was my era. Whenever I was on the team with guys like Connor Stram, Coach Shorts, Cody Weirchalk, Solomon Cisco, Brendan Price. These guys were all my teammates, and I've wrestled with them, my entire life growing up. So it was such a cool part to be a part of those teams and to wrestle, in Hershey.
Yeah, I wonder. I used to go to Powerade. I went to Powerade several times. I wonder if you were ever competing whenever I was there doing content. And then I also worked with Frank Volcano on the streaming stuff after that.
Yeah. I was definitely probably competing when you were there.
Did you wrestled at Powerade?
Yeah, I wrestled on Powerade.
Oh my gosh, that tournament's nails. What makes Pennsylvania so tough?
I think part of it, in my opinion, is like the weather. I know this may sound silly, but like I think really during the winter when you have nothing else to do, you can't go outside. all that's left to do for wrestlers is train. And yeah, of course, you have the time when you're training over the summer, but you're stuck inside. All that's left to do is get that weight off, get better, work out more. I think that's really important, as well as just kind of the guys over the years that have been built up. Different wrestling clubs, I think, are also big and a huge part of growing wrestlers, whether it's a Quest or a Young Guns or a Pitbull with Sonny Abe. All of these clubs, I think, have helped contribute, especially to Western Pennsylvania, but across the whole state, I think is tough. As well as looking just at the divisions, you only have two. You have AA and AAA, and that's it. And I know there's a big argument there with 2 tournaments versus 1 tournament versus 5 tournaments. I think that's important. I think that's big.
Yeah. You I think for a state like Pennsylvania, 2 classes is good. I was just out at CIF. Luckily, California happened before all this Corona stuff, and I don't agree. A lot of people, they're proud of that 1 class. I don't agree. Agree that it's a good thing, because there's some really, really good wrestlers that maybe place 1 time, and I think if they're not at a Super 32 or some other big tournaments, then they might not have as good opportunity. I
think that makes total sense. I mean, you look at, especially in here, you look at AA and AAA, and some people look at AA like it's something else. Well, guess what? You have guys coming out of AA like a Jason Nolf or whatever, and they make huge impact on the national scene. Or back in the day, Cary Kolat, that's just, you have guys that maybe now today don't have those opportunities in those other states like California, but unless you go to Super 32, you go to Fargo, you go to Iron Man, wherever it is, I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I think 2 makes sense. Now, on the other hand, I'm in Missouri. I went to their state tournament. My brother coaches here, and 4 classes. It's absurd.
Yeah,
it's absurd. My brother coaches Class 1, and he just said, man, if you can get a hardworking kid, he could start wrestling. You teach him some technique, you get him in the weight room. By the end of the year, it's like a good chance you can get him on the podium. So I think watering it down like that. But who knows? Maybe Pennsylvania could handle 4. When I remember going to that tournament, and I'm like, there's 4 top 20 guys in the country in this weight class. They win almost any other. They win almost any other state tournament.
Well, the other thing too is then you get guys in certain certain districts or regions where you have 4 or 5 top ranked guys in the country, where maybe only 3 of them make it to states where all 4 or 5 of them could have made it on the podium, and that's tough.
Yeah, good memories at Pennsylvania at the PA state tournament. Here's a real bad one though. I can't remember what year this was. I think it was like 2011 or 2012. Super excited to go there, meeting a couple of my friends. One's going to help me do coverage. One's a photographer.
Mm-hmm.
Bedbugs. I got bedbugs at the hotel I was at, and it torched me. And so then I had to go to NCAAs. First of all, I was super anxious the week afterwards, because I'm like, man, what if I take these home and they get into my house and all that? I thought every time I felt something, it was a bug crawling on me. And then I had to go to NCAAs. It was just all over my face and stuff. Not a super fun experience. I think it was at a Ramada there in Hershey, so avoid
That's
that
awful.
one. Avoid that one. All right, cool. I don't want to end with a bedbug story.
Don't.
But, you got anything else for us, Josiah?
I'm looking forward to whatever's to come over the next couple of months, finding more out about. I think what I'm excited about this next year in wrestling is finding out who's going to stay in the red shirt, who's going to take a red shirt, who's coming out of the Olympic red shirts, because I think a couple of those things are still in the air. As far as also with lineups, with different things going on with teams, I think it can make for a very exciting next year. I mean, I said it at the beginning of last season. I'm like, some people aren't looking forward to this year because you have a lot of these guys out. You have Mikhail Lewis out. You have Yanni out. You have all these Olympic red shirts out. But I was like, this can be one of the craziest years in wrestling today. And in my opinion, it really was. So many crazy things that happened. Unfortunately, it didn't end the way we wanted to with no tournament, but still a very exciting season, and I'm looking forward to the next year.
Well, you know what I know? Every year is going to be exciting. It's guys like you that are wrapping storylines around, making sure everybody knows what's going on. That's what creates excitement, and that's what puts eyeballs on the sport. So, thank you, and I appreciate you talking about it. I'm gonna watch this again, take some notes, maybe incorporate some of your stuff into what I do.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate being on the interview. I appreciate talking to you. It was awesome talking to you, and I'm looking forward to hopefully linking up in the future.
Yeah, keep in touch, Josiah. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
All right, take care.
You too.